And there you see the soldiers are right there, not doing anything.
Yep. Yeah, so you basically, exactly. So you have this, so, I mean, I can explain to people a little bit, because I've been to Tuwani a number of times. We've filmed a whole, investigative report there where we talk about sort of the struggle that the residents there are going through, and a huge element of that is the settler violence. So if you saw, you kind of have, like, down in the valley is where the Palestinians are, and up over that sort of hill. So basically you have this settlement that was built on the village's land. And so oftentimes you have settlers just come down from that settlement whenever they want and just raid the village, attack people, attack their homes, and as we saw, like, shoot at them as well. And so a lot of settlers in the West Bank are armed, as you saw, and they use those arms against Palestinians who the vast majority are unarmed. And so as you saw in that video, the soldiers were there witnessing what was happening, seeing this armed settler harass and eventually shoot at the Palestinian villagers and do nothing. Did nothing to stop the settler, did nothing to intervene, did nothing to even try and provide assistance to the Palestinian who was just shot under his watch. And so these are Palestinian villages where you have settlers and the army coming in, invading, and just absolutely terrorizing the villagers there. And they have no recourse. They have no legal recourse. They can go to the police. The police aren't going to do anything. They're the Israeli police.
We've seen videos of people getting shot, killed, having their olives stolen. And let's contrast that with what CENTCOM Commander General Joseph Votel said on Face the Nation when he was presented with a fairly good question from Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation.
I was concerned about another front here outside of Gaza. And I know on Wednesday, President Biden said he is alarmed by, quote, extremist settlers attacking Palestinians in the West Bank in, quote, places they're entitled to be. One of Israel's government ministers, Ben-Gvir, has video of him arming Israeli civilians with M16 and M4 assault rifles. How concerned are you about an uptick in violence in the West Bank?
Well, again, I think this goes back to what we just talked about a few moments ago. This the miscalculations. I mean, this it's a tinderbox, and so when you have people that are scared, they have weapons, they're trying to protect themselves, then the chances for something going wrong in this, I think, increase. So yeah, and the rhetoric has been very strong about this, about the vulnerability and the fact that that Israeli settlers in the West Bank are targets. I mean, that's essentially what these Islamic movements have been saying. So I think it's an ordinary critical situation. It could flow out very quickly.
Islamic movements have been saying that settlers are being targeted.
I mean, I'll give it to him. When you sent me that video, I was truly shocked because I will give it to him that was such a, that was probably one of the smoothest ways that I've seen someone, completely flip the script and, completely misrepresent the situation, but, so seamlessly. I mean, it's truly crazy that somehow these settlers, and he still used the word settlers, but that somehow, they're being portrayed as, the victims in this situation, or, the vulnerable communities. I mean, as people, as your viewers saw in the clips that we ran at the beginning, I mean, the way that the system is set up in the West Bank, and this is widely documented, Palestinian and Israeli human rights groups, reports from journalists like myself who have reported on this extensively, it is a clear system where you have armed settlers that are backed by the state, funded by the state, and as they saw, in these videos now, they're being actively armed as well by the state, by National Security Minister Ben-Gvir, who's in charge of the police. You have this system where you have state-backed settlers who are basically given free rein over Palestinian lives and property to attack them whenever they want, to take people's lives whenever they want, take people's property, steal from them, steal their land, and they're allowed to do it unabated, and also, with the full protection and sometimes the assistance of the state, and yet somehow, they're being portrayed as the victims. It's truly wild. I mean, in these situations, in that last video you saw, so the woman was saying, like, when you saw that settler with the assault rifle just walking in, like, they casually stroll in to these Palestinian communities, and they can do whatever they want. The woman in this video was, like, really scared. She was telling, I guess, the person around her, saying, close the door of the house, close the door of the house. I saw another video, and the reason I didn't share it with you, because I wasn't sure if it was a recent video or not, was basically, it was a video, again, taken by Beit Salem, where basically you have this armed Israeli settler, one guy, or one or two settlers. They stopped a bunch of Palestinian cars, and they just decided that they were going to start harassing the drivers. They stopped them. They started searching their cars. They started defiling the Quran that was in their car. And there's absolutely nothing that Palestinians can do about it. I mean, you basically have these ideological thugs running around, controlling the West Bank, sort of as they please. And Palestinians, most Palestinians, don't have arms to defend themselves. The only thing they have to defend themselves is, like, their physical bodies or rocks, for example. And when they do use those means, they're also killed or arrested or whatever. Even if, they don't defend themselves, and then they decide later to try to pursue legal action, file a police report. The vast majority, I can pull it up quickly because the number is escaping me right now. But the vast majority of, like...
She is in Bethlehem, by the way. And she is such a still very cool-tempered person, and calm, or let's say calm, not cool. It is beyond. It is really... It's beyond imagination. I feel bombed through the media. The bombs are flying everywhere.